that you were able to use different music and different style of things. And I think that, I like that we were able to, when we took over the shows, because you and I eventually were the two producers on this, when we early on, the shows were looked at as kind of a novelty, and I think that we brought a little bit, once UFO Hunters aired, I think we were able to get more people intrigued when they saw, oh, I'm not going to be made to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And I think that opened doors. Luckily, most of the people we used on UFO Hunters, the special, not the series, because we had nothing to do with the series, but most of those people were friends of yours or people you knew through your speaking engagements or your research.
Mm-hmm.
So you opened up a lot of doors, and I think that we would not have been able to do the shows we did if it wasn't for your connections to a lot of these people. When I spoke down in Orange County a week or two ago, I met with the people beforehand for dinner, and I go up to, and I didn't know what the guy looked like, Jamie, and I'm looking around for him, and I look, and there's Dr. Bob Wood sitting at the table with him, and I recognized him because I had dinner with him in Vegas last year, and I was like, oh, okay. So you start to know these people, and they start to know you, and they start to trust you a little bit more.
It's great to be friends with people like Dr. Wood and many other people, because they understand what it's like to be in the UFO community, which we always hear about. But I think as we continue talking about this, we realize that a lot of people kind of forgot what that means, and that the politics kind of scream a little bit too much in their corner of the field, and they don't want to be involved with other people. And I think a closing thought on this really is the point that when you run into that as a producer, I'm taking myself away from the UFO field, so to speak, as a researcher. As a producer, when I or you or anybody involved runs into that, it makes it so incredibly difficult to produce a good show when all of a sudden you got all your experts not wanting to take part because the other person is involved. And it makes it really tough. There's more with
Almost impossible.
Almost impossible, that's right.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Black Vault Radio. I'm your host, John Greenwald Jr., joined with Duane Tudahl. There's more coming up right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Black Vault Radio. I'm your host, John Greenwald Jr. We have done 2 hours now with Duane Tudahl. I think Duane, we should do another hour. It just flies by. We've got so much to talk about. Way too many fun stories from the field of doing all these UFO Files shows. I know many of them are still airing on the History Channel, one of which that we've talked about, Hangar 18, is coming up. When can people see that?
According to the History Channel website, it's supposed to air on Wednesday, September 17th, and Thursday, September 18th. I think like 11 at night and 3 in the morning. But check history.com for that. That might be able to tell you a little bit more about when it's going to air. I'm a big fan of documentaries. Mm-hmm. Documentaries, to me, I've been doing documentaries for 20 years now, but a documentary, when it's done right, can be like a movie. A documentary is really taking you someplace where you haven't been. A good documentary takes you to a place like Wright-Patterson, like Aurora, Texas, like even Roswell, that you haven't been, and you probably won't be able to go. If I put a camera in the middle of an intersection, that's not that interesting. But if I can take it to someplace you've never been before, and you're seeing things in a way you've never seen before, that's the purpose of a documentary. The reason why the way I equate it is it's like looking at tan lines. Tan lines are the areas that you're not supposed to see. Well, it's the same kind of thing as a documentary. You're getting to go inside of a situation, a place in a person's mind that takes you someplace else. It's like going to a movie. If it's done well, and I think that you and a lot of other people out there do them very well, and that's what makes it exciting for me to be involved with these.
Well, thank you, and you do an excellent job with them. They are a lot of fun because, I always say when you finish a 1-hour show, you're taking somebody out of their life for an hour, and they're watching your show for 45 minutes and change, depending upon the network. But there's 45 minutes of a show, and you make that. And if they can walk away after an hour and actually learn something, that is what really makes it all worthwhile.
I've had people come up to me and thank me after that, saying this, I've gotten they've got the DVDs, and I have to admit, we make these things in a vacuum. And it's just like doing the show. You don't know exactly what people are thinking. I can't be in everybody's living room, so I don't know what they're thinking. And people ask me, why do I do this? Why? Because it's like a big game of show and tell. And I tell people, when you've got stories like this, when you've got amazing situations and people and witnesses that need to be told, how could you not do it? If you've got the ability to tell these stories, how can you not be the guy getting the stories out there? And that's really the way I see it is. I like to think of myself as somebody who basically gets out of the way and allows these people to tell their stories in the most creative way possible.
Now, Duane, you've started lecturing as well. You've done a few that you've briefly mentioned in the past.
Yeah.
Do you have any slated to come up, or you're open to more?
I'm open to more. I've got a few I'm in the talks for right now. Usually I don't end up doing these shows that you do, and you do a lot of them because we have very similar backgrounds on some of this stuff. So, and also I don't do a lot of the ones that may have Bill Burns speaking because he's producing the UFO Hunter show.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be something that we're telling similar stories. And, I want to make sure people get, if they're coming to see this, they don't have to see three people talking about the same thing. So I try to, I'm somewhat selective about where I end up talking, but I'm got a few things pending, so we'll see. I don't have anything I can hype right yet. I don't want to.
No problem. And real quick, because we're almost out of time on the second hour, but Duane, where can people contact you? Real quick, what's your website?
My website is marinerpointprods.tv, or they can just look up DuaneTudahl.com, DuaneTudahl.com, and that'll shift you to marinerpointprods.tv. And my contact information, my email address is all on there. So
great,
and my resume as well. So
great. And in case any of you missed that, if you're listening on the blackvault.com or blackvaultradio.com, those links are right there for you. Feel free to click on them. Contact Duane. Duane, it's been a heck of a lot of fun with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time right here on BVRN, the Black Vault Radio Network. We'll see you next time.